Dang, this is a cool watch. Perhaps my favorite Casio watch currently, subject to change. This is the Casio full-fledged Gulfmaster model GN1000E-8 Alpha. Yes, it's a long name. I don't name them. Let's just go by full-featured Gulfmaster, why don't we? I have been wearing it a lot in West Coast oceanic operations here in TNP. Always planned. Ever since I started the Nutnfancy project, I always knew I wanted to have an ocean component, a water component for gear testing. And it's taken me 10 years. Here we go. Fun fact, the money I would have used for the 350Z reparation, spent on that, getting oceanic stuff up, the Zodiac, the motor. There you go. Just kind of a gee-whiz. Gee-whiz. Hey, if you're coming from Google, glad to have you. Please subscribe. Thumbs up. Watch a lot the watch reviews. It makes me want to go buy more. Yes, we're buying all these watches. Yeah, it's expensive. But dude, that's the way to do it because I can just say what I want to say. And I always do. So you're going to get an honest review, an interesting and fun review. If you haven't seen one of my watch reviews before, welcome. It's not going to be 5 minutes where I'm just playing music, wearing linen gloves, and just something hokey. It's not going to be a stupid unboxing. I think those are ridiculous. No, we're going to talk about application, cool stuff, features of, not this one, the full-featured Gulfmaster, but one that's pretty close to it. Pretty close to it. By the way, I did review this watch. It was one of my earlier watch reviews. I'm thinking if I have to redo it or post it, because I don't know. There's different things I should have said, didn't say. You know, I can annotate it. We'll see. Either way, I'll review this separately. The Gulfmaster GN1000E. It's so cool. Now, this is a full-featured quad-sensor watch. It's got ABC. It's got barometer, compass, altitude, temperature. It's just super cool. It's got a lot of stuff going on in it. Now, it's not perfect. There is something I have found out, like the barometer function will hang up if you go from a really high altitude to a really low altitude. It will dash out because it's not readable. Found that out. Yeah, I was able to fix it. If you go low, you need to spin that barometer all the way down. If you go high, spin it up. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it was a hassle. Everything else worked really good. We're going to talk about the sensor functions on it. By the way, that red light's from my camera. Sorry, I forgot to tape that up. I will in future videos. The thing about this watch that maybe some people can't stomach is its price. It is a $320 timepiece. I don't think that's that expensive, really. Some guys will. They'll go, oh my gosh, $320, that's a ton of money. Not really. Not really. It's kind of on the low end, especially for the quality and functionality you're getting with this one. But let's just go with it. It's going to intro our next watch. You see it hanging off over here. You don't have the money, but you still want the tidal functionality for ocean operations like I like. Say hey to its little brother, not fully featured, but dang is it cool, and it, to most people, it will look identical. For instance, me, when I'm reaching for these two watches, I mix them up all the time. This is a Casio Gulfmaster. I'll call it Gulfmaster Basic GN1000C-8 Alpha. And man, is it a cool watch. Highly recommended. Here we go, on camera. It's rare, 5 stars. This is module number 5442, in case you're wondering. It's awesome. What do I say in the video above? That is, what features do you really need in an EDC watch? It may surprise you. First and foremost is, does it turn you on? Do you like it? For me, both of these watches do it. I love white watches, especially when they're teamed with the gold accents. There's a touch of red in both of these watches. Bronze, you have anodized blue bezel rings. They are different between the two watches. I can show you the difference here. Not just in the numbering. This is a barometer, barometric pressure difference for the second hand. And it has just labeling on this one. They're just cool looking. And so when I'm out there in the Zodiac and I'm you know, rocking and rolling out there, I'm looking at my wrist. You know, we're doing a lot of work, testing different stuff. But I go, this is a watch that belongs on my wrist doing this. And it makes me smile. It's like, it looks like an oceanic watch, it operates like an oceanic watch, and damn, it makes me happy. It makes me smile. And that's what you want your watch to do, guys. First and foremost, everything else is secondary. That's why you see guys wearing nothing but pure analog. They don't have any of the functionality this does. Never mind ABC function. Doesn't have any of that. They just have analog. Why? Because they like it. Maybe it's just a Seiko diver, Citizen diver, a Rolex. Maybe it's Omega. Very simple, but they like it. It makes them smile. I totally get it as long as people say it's second cool. We're going to go into POU right now. The thing about this watch, which is super cool, is that it has a great balance of first cool and second cool. It has the most needed features of this watch, and it's half price. Half price, dudes. So it's going to sell, and this is a snapshot in time. Buy it in the link below when you see it, because the models may change, the vendors may change, it may not be available anymore, but for $182. Well, is that a lot? Not to me. Not for what you're getting, the quality and the durability of this, not even. So philosophy of use is first and foremost a dive watch or ocean watch. It's 20 bar rated, 20 meters. Or, I'm sorry, not 20, 200 meters. I would totally dive with this if I didn't need a dive computer. I'll echo that sentiment a lot, and I may dive in the project. I'm a certified scuba guy as well. The thing is, if I dive, I want a full-on, full-fledged risk computer that will do all my oxygen, ascent calculations, alarms. And yes, Casio makes the Frogman. It's very expensive though. How does it compete against a full-fledged, I don't know, risk computer? I don't know. I haven't researched it yet. But as far as going underwater, snorkeling, maybe recreational scuba, and you have someone else that has all the computer function on them, absolutely. I think it'd be great. Yachting, surfing, kayaking, all that. It's an all-around just water watch. Absolutely. Just like I said with this one. Both one and the same. If we go to the second cool thing, which is fascinating, often guys will make a statement with their watches. We know that, right? And the statement you're making with any of the Gulfmasters is, hey, I like water. That can be one of the statements. I mean, it's just a beautiful all-arounder watch. You don't have to live on the coast. Absolutely. You don't even have to look at the tide function. You just like it. But for a lot of us, me included, I think it makes a statement of, I'm a water dude. It does, at least to people who know watches. It just is different. It's white. White. Philosophy of use discussion complete. Probably forgot some stuff. Other colorations. You know, I'm trying to think if this module 5442, I didn't really look, has other colorations. If I find some and I like the coloration, I'll annotate it. Actually, not annotate it, but I'll give you a link probably to Amazon below. If I don't like it, I'm not going to do it. I only give you links to watches that I think are cool and worthwhile to my audience. Yeah. I'll just go with the white, though. It's cool. I mean, the blue, freaking cool. Cool. It's not a small watch. It's not. I mean, I just reviewed a Baby G. Here it is in comparison. Oh, jeez. Holy crap. Yeah. It's a big watch. It's a 52 millimeter case on the GN1000C. It's 15 millimeters thick. That's a chunk. Not the biggest Casio makes. I mean, it's a lot smaller, I think, than a Mudmaster. And it has a 22 millimeter, I think, proprietary band on it. So, yeah, it's a big watch. I've worn it a lot, and I've worn this one a lot, and they wear very comfortably. You hear that a lot with Casios. I think people just get used to it. You're going to be banging into stuff with them? Yeah. It's a G-Shock. Don't worry about it. And don't worry about normal wear and tear either, guys. I mean, sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, I can't get any scratches on my watch. The only time I would say to worry about that is if you're going to resell them. If you're a collector and you want to maximize the money you can get for your watch, then take care of it. Take care of it. Don't wear it. But I like you guys to use your gear. I mean, things are disposable. Watches are disposable. Humans are not disposable. Make yourself happy. Use your gear, your multi-tools, your guns, your knives. Just use the heck out of them. And then pass them on to your kids all beat up. They'll love it even more. Look, this was Dad's Gulfmaster, man. He went bass fishing with it all these years. It's so beat up. They'll treasure it. Don't even worry about it. The strap. I like it. It is comfortable. It has a stainless steel single clasp and 2 resin keepers, in contrast to the full-fledged Gulfmaster, which has a double clasp and a stainless steel keeper, which I really don't like. I actually have 3 layers of helicopter tape in there to help it get some more resistance. So it's okay. It's not awesome. I mean, every watch has some quirks. I find the strap to be extremely comfortable. There's no wings or stabilizers here under there. If you have super small wrists, you might want to put it on first and see if it works for you. Feature set, interface, legibility, and accuracy of this watch. Again, no ABC, no solar. Got it upside down. I wish it was solar. That's the one feature I wish that the getting excited that the GN, make sure I'm saying it right, 1000C had. I wish it was solar. I can do without ABC functions. You know, I can. One thing I told you about the anomaly of the barometer here, but I find that the ABC function, maybe not the compass, but definitely the altimeter, sometimes it's way off. You know, I went on a motorcycle ride, took this up, testing it, and it was 300 feet off. Yes, I had synced it. And then I had a buddy take it in a jet, check it against pressurization in the jet, and it was spot on this one, on this model, the GN1000E. But the temperature is usually off unless it's off your wrist for a while. Are those functions you're going to be using all the time? Like I said in the philosophy video, probably not. So save yourself 180 bucks, just get this version. That's what I'm saying. How about the display? I did say it's legible. It is. I like it. It's not huge, you know, because there's a lot going on here. You have a tidal function. You have a function dial showing you what you're doing. You know, it's better than a lot of them. And I'm going to bring you on that really cool looking baby G with the reverse LCD. And of course, a freaking hand is covering it. I'll stow the hands real quick. You can see it right there. So that's a much smaller LCD reverse. I always like positive displays better. Even though sometimes, depending on the watch coloration, they're not the coolest looking. They might not be. This also doesn't have auto daylight savings time. You're going to have to do it yourself. I think it's this button will set it in. Or I know you can do it in the mode adjustment as well. Let's see. I think, yeah, it does have temp. We'll get to that here in a sec. I'm going to start off here in the lower left like I normally do. And Casio assigns letters to these. I always call this lower left, lower right, upper right, just for consistency. Okay, so we are here in, what mode did I go into? Let me go back. By the way, this does have a shortcut. If I press and hold, it should take me right back to time mode. It did, just in case I screw it up like I did. Tide, that's where we are. So it showed the date, and it always starts you off in a lot of the Casio modules at 0600. Now for you guys who don't care about tide, I'll try to go quick, but for some of us it's important. When we do our water operations, it just super helps with the performance. So if we're going out against the tide, that's important. If we're going with it, that's important. If I'm under the Golden Gate Bridge, there's a 20-knot wind coming off the sea, and I have an outgoing tide, the potato patch can be huge, which is like a very rough, choppy area right under the bridge. With my little boat, I don't want to go in it. So tide's important. So I don't bury my motor in the mud again. I'll probably say that 1,000 times. Starts you off at 0600 on that date once you've synced the tide function up. Let's talk about that super quick. So you'll press adjust. It'll show you the moon date. You don't change that. It says, what's the high tide this day? What I use is a program called Tides Near Me for my iPhone. I look it up on that date, and I just put it in with this button and that button. And I'll press adjust. And then it knows where it's at. It goes, okay, I know what my tide is. They're basically a 6-hour cycle. And it starts at 0600. You can see it. Well, it's still moving the hand, so I can't touch anything right now. And then you can cycle through your day for when you're planning to launch out. By the way, this is kind of a disadvantage for a dually watch, Casio's, because it's resetting the hands, and so you're just kind of waiting. And then once you're there, you can do it. So I'm just going through the day, and you'll see the tide right here change. Very cool. Very, very useful. I love that function. It's cool. Now, we don't have to get into the tide function, because if I do my shortcut back to normal time, this should be showing tidal function. I'm not sure if it is right now, but it should be repeating it. Promises, promises. Then we go into world time. The one thing I don't like about world time on this module, 5442, is that it's unidirectional. So the second hand will indicate our time zone. So if I miss a time zone, I can't use this to go back like I can with this one, the full-fledged Gulfmaster. This one, if I can, I think I'm right. So I go like that, and then I can go backwards, I think. Let's see, home time. Oh, you know, with this one, I actually have to pull out my smart crown and do it. That's why it's not doing it. And this doesn't have a crown. Duh. There you go. That's one thing. And then another thing is you can see the very small names of the cities. So sometimes hard to see. You might want to remember that if you're in Chicago, it's right by this blue function. So you do have world time. You can select manually daylight savings time on that. That's cool. But I can't go backwards. You get Lume right there. We'll look at that here in a second. Then we go stopwatch function. I gotta stop it. Then I should reset it with that one. There we go. So many modules, so little time. Time remaining function. Alarms. I think there's like 4. I only use like 1 or 2. Signal, I always have that turned off. It's obnoxious. There's no snooze. But I honestly think snooze is a tool of the devil. Dude, when it's time to wake up, wake up. Everyone's like, oh, it doesn't have a snooze. I'm like, I don't use snooze. When it's time to wake up, wake up. Let's look at our adjustments super quick. And I want to go as fast as I can through this. I'm just going to cycle through. There's daylight savings time on. Notice it doesn't give you an auto function. 12 versus military time. There's just a time, the date. And then key press, I have that currently turned on. And there's your light function. So you can select 1 second, or I'm sorry, 1 or 3. I think it's this one. Am I pressing that? I'm hunting the wrong one. I'm looking through the viewfinder, that's why. The buttons really aren't that hard to press, really. I mean, they're not like Mudmaster easy, but on this watch, I don't want like some huge buttons. I don't. This is perfect. That's about it on that one. Now we can cycle through our presentation here. What we can show. Time repeating. Hands are sweeping. This does have a stow feature for your hands as well. This is what I generally leave it on. There we go. And then we'll look at the Lume, which I think is pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm going to charge both of these up, the basic Gulfmaster and this other one, and you can see the differences in hands. You're going to get more Lume on the full featured one. Ready? Ready? Oh, that's cool, dude. So second hand has it. Unlike the Gravity Master, it's not, you'll see when I turn on the Lume right now, that it doesn't have like a fiber optic tick on the second hand. Oh, that's a great Lume though, against the white. Doesn't that look so cool? Oh my gosh, that looks cool. So here's a full-fledged Gulfmaster. The Lume on that, it actually seems like it's less bright, although you can totally make out the LCD screen on it. And you'll see it has more illumination across the entire spectrum of the dial. Excellent, excellent. And then I'm going to see if I think the hand stow is right here. Yeah, it is. There you go. So the hand stow will do its thing. The thing about a dually watch is that you are always going to make a compromise for informational presentation. If you're like me, as you've seen in my reviews, generally the hands will be blocking the very information you want to see. It's almost always that way. By the way, I can jump out of that hand stow by pressing any button. I usually just hit the mode button and they'll go back. And it also put me into tide function here. World time. Press and hold and it shortcuts you to time. Beeping twice. Cool. So the Lume I think is really, really good. And let's make sure we can totally check out. Hands are still moving, so I can't actuate the Lume, by the way. That might be good to know. Did you hear that, by the way? You can hear the gears. That was kind of cool. And some watch is going off. And I'm basically going to throw that down the hallway. Done. We're going to move on super quick to durability, concerns, and accuracy, but I almost forgot the other sensor, and that is compass mode. Dope! Yeah, it's a twin sensor. You know, it doesn't have like ABC, but you got temperature and compass. That's cool. Second hand pointing to north. Excellent. One thing I like on compass watches, if they can do it, is integrate a bezel with the degree marks on it. That way it's just super easy to get a bearing. I don't think this has bearing memory, but I don't think many people use that anyhow. So there you go. Cool. Compass mode. Helpful? Yeah, it's helpful. I wouldn't navigate by it. And again, it's in your smartphone anyhow. And that takes us, like I said, durability, concerns, and accuracy. Accuracy, I would say, and I forgot to write down the specs from Casio, but it's probably plus or minus 10, 15 seconds a month. Probably more accurate than that. Not atomic synced, like I said. 200-meter waterproofness dive watch, absolutely. I'd have no qualms at all going down a 50-foot scuba dive in this, 75-foot scuba dive, dynamic pressure. It will do just fine. The band is a matte white That means it picks up dirt just like this one has over time, and I clean it with some hot soapy water and a toothbrush, and it comes clean. Watch out for oil though. Oil and petroleum products may stain it. Paint would stain it. Be super careful. You won't like that. You shouldn't be wearing a watch like this if you're doing it. There's so many thrashers you can put on for it. I wouldn't do it. The crystal is recessed, and there is something cool about this one over the full-featured Gulfmaster. I don't know if you've noticed. Can you see a difference in durability we're talking about? If you said it has raised blocks, you're correct. So it's very G-Shocky in protecting both the very cool blue anodized bezel on this one. Unlike the full-featured Gulfmaster, this one is exposed, and so I've seen Gulfmasters that are pretty scratched up around here. In fact, mine has some nicks in it. I just felt a couple right through here. And it's going to get beat up, but I would like to keep it blue and looking nice, but normal wear and tear, like I said, is normal. It's okay. This one has some protective ears on it, which is a plus. The band, I think, is going to be very reliable. It lasts a long time. It is replaceable. It does have a hand reset feature on it. If it gets a big shock on it, you can reset the hands and make sure they're synced up correctly. That would have to be a big shock. Really big shock. Refer to your manual for that, by the way. Awesome. Value, $182. I'm going to say value is very high. I'll say it on camera. I rarely do it, but 5 stars. It's a 5-star watch. Absolutely. Double keeper, like again. And competitive options, of course, we've been talking about it all along. The Gulfmaster, full feature GN1000E 8 alpha at $320. Yeah. Hey, if you can afford it, get this one. It's amazing. I love it. It's such a cool watch. And ABC, of course. Another one that I'm wearing right now, which I think is a very valid competitive option, and it's in basic black, tactical black, but it does come in an OD coloration. I'm going to convert it to yellow, by the way. Let me clean it. This is a full-featured ABC watch. Very cool. That's a stopwatch, of course. It's got altimeter, compass, baro. As you can see, all this stuff I'm cycling through. It's super cool. Now, does it have the same presentation as a Gulfmaster? Not to me, it doesn't. And by the way, if you're wondering, well, man, those are kind of fluctuating, it's because I'm using fluorescent lighting right here, so the cycles are just kind of not syncing up. In regular lighting, or not on the camera, it looks normal, in case you're wondering. Between these two, because these are basically the same price, right? We have a Rangemaster for $180 more or less. Then we've got this Gulfmaster. Which one would I buy? That's a really good question. It just depends. You know, do you need a Tide watch? Is maybe what it boils down to, and this is probably the most important, which one do you like better as far as looks? I think in terms of looks, this one is much more technical, much more gorgeous. It's just a beautiful watch. White, anodized blue, red highlights. You've got an analog presentation. It dominates the range band. There's really no contest. And you can change the looks of it. So you'll have a basic black case, then you can change it with a band. So it's still cool. And you do have some red highlights here, which is excellent. A lot more functionality. This actually has sunrise and sunset in it too, which is very helpful to have. It's a great watch. So I say have both. How's that for an answer? Because they're both excellent. And then we've got another one if you need a tidal function. And this is I think a 7900. This is a G-Shock 7900. It comes in various colors. I'm going to review it separately because I really love this watch. I think this is a -7 white one. And it has an LCD presentation for the tidal function. $80, 200 meters. This one's really cool. So it's white. It's got the orange ring on it. Basically the same look as the Gulfmaster Basic does, right? It's just super cool. It's got the G logo. Very comfortable band. This one does have stabilizers on it. It doesn't have all the functions this one does. It doesn't have temperature, but it has tidal functions, stopwatch, all the other basic stuff we'd see. The world time on this is really cool. It's actually better because I can sequence it up and down. This is the kind of watch I'm talking about. So if I miss a time zone, I can go back easy. Bouncing around. Great option for you though. And then I don't have it on the table. I'll roll in a photo is the Casio Pro Trek. That's an ABC function watch. The PRG. Oh, actually, I think have one version of it. Let's see. While I'm fishing it out, the model I'm thinking of is the full digital one, the Pro Trek. Those are excellent. They're full ABC functions, but they're really more about first kind of cool, not really looks. Yeah, you can switch out the colors, but it's full digital. Very functional. I like the looks of them, but maybe the analog dually is better. That's it. The one I was going to show you, and I confused it. This is the PRG. I'll review this one separately. The PRG 280 2JF. I'll just call it the 2JF. And this is a very cool watch. Does it rise to the level of coolness of this Gulfmaster? I don't know. It really depends. This does have the rotating bezel I talked about for the compass mode. See what I'm talking about? So I just go to my north function, and if I'm taking a reading, then I can just say, oh, that direction. I mean, we know that's 270, that's 180, but you know, maybe 300. It's cool. It's got a big legible LCD screen in it. This one does. So I really like the PRG ProTrek 2JF. I don't know if they're still making this one. So if you like it, get it while you can. Which between these would you buy, Nutnfancy? Oh, God. You're asking me to choose between my children. That's a really tough thing to answer. I like the bigger LCD presentation in this ProTrek. It's excellent. I love the blue band. There's your information right there. I gave a down arrow because I kind of thought it's a little bit overpriced for this one for what it is. It should be about 150, maybe 135, but it's not. I don't do the pricing. I love the blues, the oranges, and the whites. Between these two, geez, I'd probably go with this one, especially as an oceanic watch, because it looks cool and it's very, very functional. Tough as nails. It has the most important features of Big Brother over here. It really does. Fun review, man. Really fun review. Told you it'd be feature length. But these are the kind of reviews I like. They really are. I'm not just making that up. I mean, in my research for watches, I looked around and man, I was like, holy crap, it's hard to find a good watch review. It's mostly fluff. I like substance. Highly recommend both of these. And that's the review. See ya.